Good morning, children. Welcome to the second lecture today. In our last lecture, we discussed about the immediate challenges or the two immediate goal our nation faced just after getting independence, and then the three important kind of or the basic kind of challenges what our country faced. Yes, children, you are right. And we all Indians think that was partition inevitable? Can't it be? Or were there any options with our leaders those days that they could have avoided the condition like partition? But children, partition is the harsh reality of our independence. As we discussed, like every coin used to have the two sides, so second side and very painful side is obviously the partition. Today we are going to discuss about partition, displacement and rehabilitation. Basically here we will discuss about partition and its process. Okay. As we know that on 14th 15th August, midnight of 14th 15th August 1947, two nation states were born. Yes, the birth of two nation states took place, India and Pakistan. Certainly, this was the result of partition, the division of British India into India and Pakistan. Just after it, the border started being drawn, demarcating the territory of India and newly emerged nation Pakistan. It marked the culmination of political developments that you have been discussing and you will discuss in 12th history textbooks as well. In previous classes you have discussed. Children, you must be well aware regarding the two nation theory. Here we are going to discuss it once again. This two nation theory had been advanced by Muslim League. Yes, the party named Muslim League had given this theory of two nation, and as per their ideology, India consisted of not one but two people, Hindus and Muslims. As two people, as per the concept of Muslim League, they told that India consisted of not one but two people, Hindus and Muslims. So obviously they demanded for Pakistan. And children, another thing you must note here, you must keep in mind that this party Muslim League had been formed in the year 1906 by a leader, Aga Khan, those days. Okay, and as far as this term Pakistan is concerned, first time one scholar, one student has coined this term. I'd like someone to tell me the name, and then at last I will give you the answer, or next day I will give you its answer. Pakistan, they demanded a separate country for the Muslims. And Indian National Congress those days Indian National Congress, children, opposed this theory. Okay? And the demand of Pakistan had been opposed by Indian National Congress those days. But the political developments in the decades of 1940s, the political competition between the Congress and the Muslim League, yes, between these two parties, the Congress party and the Muslim League, the political competition between these two, and how can we forget the British rule, the role played by the British government, the colonial government, and our last Viceroy of India. As per the plan, in fact, the division of India and Pakistan, the division of British India into two nations, India and Pakistan, also took place under the Mountbatten Plan. So the British role here also played a very crucial aspect to the decision for the creation of Pakistan. Okay, so three things were very important that ultimately led to the decision for creation of Pakistan. Very first, the political developments in the 1940s. Second, the political competition between the Congress and the Muslim League. And third, the last but not the least and most crucial, was the British role that led to the decision for the creation of Pakistan. Hope you understood it, children. Now, we are moving ahead to the process, as it is very important for you to understand what was decided, that India, what was till then known as India, would be divided into two countries, India and Pakistan. Such a division used to be very painful, and it was so in case of our partition. Along with being it's painful, it was very difficult to decide and to implement it. Okay, it was not everybody's cup of tea. It was a very difficult or a uphill task to fulfill those days. But ultimately, it was decided to follow the principle of religious majorities. As per this principle of religious majority, children, the areas where Muslims were in majority would make up the territory of Pakistan. Yes, understand it very clearly that the principle of religious majorities means the areas where the Muslims were in majority would make up the territory of Pakistan, and the rest was to stay with India. Fine. One thing, students, this idea looked very simple, but it was full of, and it presented different kinds of difficulties. And there were four main kinds of difficulties what we are going to discuss here, and what is very important for you to understand. If you want to have a clear concept, then these four kinds of difficulties what had been faced to ensure or to implement the process of partition, you must understand. The first one, there was no single belt of Muslim majority areas in British India. Yes, children, you must be surprised that there was no single belt of Muslim majority areas in British India. There were different areas, and basically two areas of concentration, one in the west and another in the east. West, as we know, that it was the northwest frontier province those days, where we do have Pakistan nowadays. There was no way that these two parts could be joined. Just imagine one nowadays where we do have Pakistan, and another where we do have Bangladesh. Okay, so there were no ways and no possibilities of joining these two areas. Okay, so what was decided, that the new country Pakistan will comprise two territories. It won't comprise only one territory, it would comprise two territories, West and East Pakistan, and it was separated by a long expanse of Indian territory. We are seeing it nowadays. Okay, those days Western Pakistan, where Pakistan is nowadays, that was Western Pakistan those days, and Eastern Pakistan, where we do have Bangladesh nowadays. And obviously you are well aware how did Bangladesh come into existence? That was the very important year 1971 and December 16th. The credit goes to Indian Army, the government of India. Okay, that Bangladesh is a free nation and Bangladesh got independence in the year 1971 December 16th. Fine. Now come to the second difficulty, second problem. First, as you know, that no single belt of Muslim majority areas in British India we had. Second, not all Muslim majority areas wanted to be in Pakistan. If anybody thinks that all Muslim majority areas wanted to be in Pakistan, then they are still under illusion. It was not so. Okay, and the leaders like Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, the undisputed leader of the northwestern frontier province, children, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he staunchly opposed this concept of two nation theory, and he started a campaign. And remember that he was an undisputed leader who also got the title, who is also known as Frontier Gandhi. Okay, but unfortunately his voice was not only ignored, his voice was suppressed, and Northwest Frontier Province was made to merge with Pakistan. Clear? This was the second problem, second difficulties. Now the third problem, the third difficulties. Two of the Muslim majority provinces of British India, Punjab and Bengal. These two Muslim majority provinces of British India those days, Punjab and Bengal, had very large areas where non-Muslims were in majority. Now see how complicated the problem was those days. So it was obvious, and eventually it was decided that these two provinces would be bifurcated according to the religious majority at the district or even lower level. This was the decision taken in case, and because we had, what had we seen, the third difficulty is that in Punjab and Bengal, these two Muslim majority provinces had very large areas where non-Muslims were in majority. Fine. So this was the decision taken that it will be bifurcated according to the religious majority at the district or even lower level. This decision could not be made at the midnight of 15th August 1947, children, when we have discussed that we got independence and our first Prime Minister addressed the special session of Constituent Assembly. What does it mean? It means that a large number of people were not aware, they didn't know on the day of independence whether they were in India or they were in Pakistan. See the tragedy. See the extent of the problem and how unfortunate they were. So the partition of these two provinces caused the deepest trauma of partition in the mindset of those people who were not knowing India got independence, country got independence, Pakistan emerged as a new nation, but they were not aware, they were not knowing, they were highly ignored, they were unaware that were they in India or in Pakistan. Clear, children? This was the third problem. Now come to the fourth problem, children. This fourth problem was most intractable of all the problems related or regarding partition. This was the problem of minorities on both sides of the border. Not only one side, of both sides of border, the problem of minorities. Lakhs of Hindus, lakhs of Sikhs were in the areas that were in Pakistan, and an equally large number of Muslims on the Indian side of Punjab and Bengal. Not only in Punjab and Bengal, to some extent Delhi and its surrounding areas as well. Okay, children, listen it very carefully, try to understand it. These problem of minorities was most intractable, that lakhs of Hindus and Sikhs in the areas that were in Pakistan and equally large number of Muslims on the Indian side of Punjab and Bengal, Delhi and its surrounding areas found themselves trapped now. They were to discover that they were undesirable aliens in their own home. This is the kind of situation no citizen on this planet Earth ever likes. This stamp of undesirable aliens in their own home, in the land where they and their ancestors had lived for centuries. Clear, children? As soon as it became crystal clear that the country was going to be partitioned, the minorities on both the sides became easy targets of attacks. This was the worst side of the partition. No one had quite anticipated the scale of this problem, that this is going to be very complicated problem. No leader those days had even or could anticipate. No one had any plans. As a result, no one had any plans for handling this. Initially, the people and political leaders, they kept hoping against hope. They kept hoping that this violence was temporary and very soon we would succeed in controlling it. But very soon it was clear that this violence could not be controlled, and yes, children, this violence went out of control. As a result, the minorities on both sides of the border were left with no option except to leave for new place, new land, to leave their homes, their ancestral place, and that too often at a few hours' notice. They had been given some hours only to vacate, to move to the new area. Okay, children? Just imagine if or had it happened with us, the people of our generation, then what would have been our reaction? Our ancestor faced all these kind of difficulties. What? By simply thinking, by knowing, we start anticipating, and we don't have words to express their distress, their grief, their tragedy. Just imagine, children, our ancestor, they faced all these kind of problem,